Hi, I'm Christina Allison. This is from my Communication 676 Visual Rhetoric Influence Aesthetics at Queen's University, Myths and Symbols. When presenting this to the class, this is what I had done. When I first thought of the ideas when we had to sign up for this class discussion, I had a totally different idea of what myths and symbols were. And I asked the class how many of them thought that it had a different meaning, and majority of them said yes. Barth. Barth is his background is very accomplished. He was a linguistics and a semiotic and a sense maker, but his words were very, very robust. And I had to look up so many words when I first started reading Barth. It was unbelievable. And that seemed to be the majority of the class as well. Story of misreading the instructions and reading all the stories is semiotics. So the details are descriptive details, setting the scene. You don't need photos or see the action he describes, but he breaks it down into scenes, into their elements of what the subjective norms that he observes. In the introduction, Barth introduces myth as a language. And I find that when Barth writes, it is much like walking around in circles. The first story that Barth gave was on wrestling, which is still valid today. And it's the idea that we have different characters, roles that they play in the acts, the physical characteristics, which are your costumes, the heroes, the villains, the good versus evil, emotional drama, escape from the audience is what people are experiencing. So myth is a type of speech, and myth is a system of communication that is a message. The image alone is not the myth. So the idea of sign, signifier, and signified can be really kind of confusing. The idea of one of the examples that were given is that the signifier is somebody that gives a bouquet of roses to somebody. The signified is what the roses represent to those who the signifier. The sign itself is the flowers. But the meaning for the signified could be different from the giver and the receiver. So again, it's one of those ones that go into that cyclical, never-ending kind of rhetoric that goes with that. So the images alone are not the myth. It is through the histories that create the myth. The meaning contained the whole system of values, history, a geography, a morality, a zoology, literature. Different meanings create the myth. We attach the idea and implications to an image. Myth hides nothing. Its function is to distort, not to make disappear. So the image of George Washington is the stories that we have been told for years of his ability. The military people and how they dress, what they signify as to power and the unity, and like the idea of the boots. It's not these pictures themselves, it's what they represent in the stories and the myths that have been created around them. In one of the readings by Kimball and Olson, they gave a great background of both the Miller and the Rockwell depiction of Rosie the Riveter. And what there actually was, there's actually two pictures, and that they have been merged into the myth. So this new myth is a combination of both of these images. How much the image has gone viral through time is a combination of these two images. It's got, but I don't remember. I truly do not remember seeing these images and I'm in my 50s, as being really prominent growing up. They originated from the Westinghouse in 1940 image with a different context than the current myth of the feminist empowerment or even empowerment in general. The worldview of the audience members was not as big as it is today. It really was just a propaganda thing originally for a Westinghouse image. The image has changed and has now then become much more of in the current state, much more of a feminist empowerment symbol. So does the history of the image of Rosie the Riveter change how you perceive the image now? If you know what it came from, does it then now change for you? I know that it has for me. The other reading we did was Heidi E. Huntington, the pepper spray cop in the American Dream. What is a meme and how are they currently used? So the meme is they take part of an image of something that has happened and they use it and they implement it into other things. This one was analyzing the political rhetoric she talked about, and she said a lot about the myth, but with a different language than Barth did. And social media's role in the Occupy Wall Street movement has been even larger. Sorry, I went too soon. So how this meme was used in many different memes on the internet, depicted in so many different things, even literally at the Last Supper. So the myth serves as the sort of cultural talisman people can use to measure and justify actions and expectations, both for themselves and others, was a quote in the article. So myths in images are our values and beliefs that we put onto them. How we see and interpret an image is based on what we already believe. And the same thing was true if you compare with the Obama Hope, which was a big factor in this course, and the memes that happen all the time with him. And it says, so I asked the class, how does the pepper spray cop compare to Pepe the Frog, which was another meme that went viral and was used in many, many areas that it was not designed to. And that is part of that social realm of the visual rhetoric that goes with some of these, really that whole viral of a meme. And this is, the Obama is that, yes, we can. And how does that, this again is part of that. What do we add to this is what we already in hysterical believe in our own myths of the image. So what are the main similarities that you see in these three different articles? And do you see any main differences? What was asked of the in class? So thank you for joining me on this. These are the resources for the articles that we read and talked about here.